So today we're looking at solving equations after substitution. So first of all, a formula is a mathematical relationship between two or more variables. So an example of a formula is A equals half BH. So this is a formula that relates the area, base, and height of a triangle. A, B, and H are the variables, so they are what can change within that relationship. Half is a constant because half never means anything but half. We can find the unknown variable in a formula through substitution. So the steps, we write the formula first, substitute all known values, so everything that's given to us. If the unknown is not the subject of the equation, we need to solve the equation. So subject just means that it's by itself on one side. And then you give your answer with correct accuracy and units. So you make sure you've rounded it to the precision that the question is asked for. So when the unknown is the subject, that's easier to solve. So if A equals pi r squared, find the value of A if r equals 12. So that just means wherever there's an r, we're going to put a 12 instead. And remember that when different variables are right next to each other with no gap, that means that they're multiplying together. So pi r squared means pi times r squared. So in this case, A equals pi times 12 squared. Now 12 squared is 144. So it's going to be pi times 144. When we put that in our calculator, it comes out to be quite messy, as all things using pi do. So we need to round it. It didn't ask us what to round it to, so we'll just round to 2 decimal places. So remember, we have an 8 there, and behind it is a 9. That 9 is going to bump that 8 up to a 9. Another example, if A equals P outside of 1 plus R to the power of N, find the value of A if P equals 1000, R equals 0.02, and N equals 5. So we start by substituting in everything that we're told. So remember, when there is any value right outside brackets at the front with nothing in between it, that means that it's multiplying by everything in the brackets. So we have 1000 is our P, times 1 plus R, which is 0.02, and that brackets is all to the power of 5, because that was what our N is worth. So then we kind of simplify that down. 1 plus 0.02 is 1.02, and it is to the power of 5. And then we just run that through our calculator, and we see another kind of messy answer. Again, we're just going to round it to 2 decimal places. So that's going to round to 1104.08. And it's good to specify afterwards what you rounded to. So we just write 2 dp, so 2 decimal places. So that just shows markers that you know what you're doing and you are very, very clear about it. When the unknown is not the subject is when it's a little trickier. So you have to be ready to deal with word problems as well. So in this case, the circumference of a circle is given by the formula C equals 2 pi r, where C is the circumference and r is the radius. Find the radius of a circle with circumference 40 centimeters. Answer correct to 2 decimal places. So this time it's told us what to round to, so that kind of makes the decision for us. So remember, when we have 2 pi r and they're all right next to each other like that, that's going to be multiplication. So we need to start with the formula, C equals 2 pi r. And then we need to substitute in what we know. So in the other cases, we knew like all of the stuff on the right and we didn't know the left and we had to find the left. In this case, we don't know everything on the right and we do know the left. So we need to substitute that 40 in the correct place. So be very careful to realize that the 40 relates to the C, the circumference, not the R. So now we substituted in, as I said, when they're all right next to each other like that, they're all timesing together. So a nice simple way to look at it is 2 pi r is going to be 2 pi times r. So r is what we're trying to find out here because we're finding the radius. So we've substituted in what we know. Now we have to make r the subject, or we have to get r by itself. So right now it's being multiplied by 2 pi. So we have to get it by itself, and that is going to be by dividing by 2 pi. And remember, when we divide something, it's kind of like a fraction. So we've got 40 divided by 2 pi is 40 over 2 pi. So then we have to calculate what that actually is. We type that into our calculator. 40 over 2 pi is going to give us, again, pi is involved, so it's a messy answer. So it's good to write your unrounded first, but don't write your whole calculator display out. Just do a few of the digits after and then a ... So that kind of shows people that you know it's not rounded yet, and then you're going to round it in the next step. So we need to round it to what it wanted, which was 2 decimal places. So it's going to be 6.37. And then the units that we were in are centimeters. So we just have to say, therefore, the 3 dots means therefore, radius is 6.37 centimeters. And again, it's just safer to specify your rounding, so 2 dp.